Hey guys, so welcome to this video, and in this video I'm going to tell you about how to manage current affairs for UPSC CSE prelims. Okay, so this is going to be about civil service prelims exam, not mains. Okay, so this is the important thing. It will be a prelims oriented video, and I'll tell you how to manage the sea. You have a sea of material for current affairs, and I'll tell you how to tackle that in the best possible fashion. So this is going to be presented by me, and this is all about me. So if you are following this channel, you already know about me, and in order to encourage me to keep making more of such videos, please do subscribe to the channel so that I receive the necessary encouragement and the feedback to go ahead with this initiative. So moving on. Now, as with any other video that I make, there is always a compelling why behind all of my videos. Okay, so there is a why, very strong why I have chosen this topic. Okay, current affairs. The reason is that current affairs, it has become a really debatable topic for most aspirants. Why debatable? Because they just do not know what is the correct strategy. Okay, so strategy is a big nightmare. Okay, so for something like modern history or something like polity, okay, you know exactly what to read and exactly what questions you are going to get in the exam. Okay, so for modern history you read spectrum and everybody will tell you that you have to read spectrum. Okay, for polity you'll have to read Lakshmikant and everybody will tell you the same. But the thing is not the same for current affairs. Okay, current affairs, you have so many things, you have so many magazines, you have so many institutes with their own current affairs videos and this and that and everything. So because of that, what happens is you have a molehill which is known as current affairs, and it has been turned into a mountain. Okay, so it should be treated like a molehill, but people turn it into a mountain, and because of that they waste their time and their money on this one single thing. Okay, so they're all people are aspirants are always looking out for current affairs classes. Okay, so this whole current affairs classes thing, I really don't support this whole idea. Okay, I don't think there can be any classes for current affairs as such, because this is just like, if you can do something in 5 minutes by reading a piece of news or reading a magazine or something, whatever you want to say. Okay, so if you do it by yourself, it will take you 5 minutes. You go to a coaching institute. Okay, you go to a coaching institute and they will turn this simple piece of news into something like that, a 30-minute video. Okay, so they will do all sorts of interlinkages and this and that, and they'll prepare a fancy course for you in that, and they'll give you number of words for all these strategies and everything, and it'll be a big show. Okay, so it becomes a big show, and aspirants end up feeling so confused as to how to exactly tackle this whole mountain, right? So they waste time, they waste money, and in the end they are left with a whole lot of confusion. Okay, so this is the main thing, they're left with a whole lot of confusion, right? So why confusion? Because they fall prey to marketing gimmicks. So these current affairs classes that most institutes, and I'm not saying all, okay, but most of them, they have created these classes as a kind of unemployment reduction scheme. Okay, so it doesn't take any insightful analysis, any kind of application of brain or anything to create these classes, right? So anybody and with any kind of background can come up with something. So they'll prepare some PDF, they'll prepare some slide or something, and they can talk endlessly on it. A simple piece of news article, they'll spend 1 hour in it, and you will feel that by devoting that 1 hour you have studied a lot, whereas the truth is that it has not added anything of value to your whole preparation. Okay, so this is where this whole idea of time management comes in. Okay, you need to know where to spend your time. So please don't fall prey to these marketing gimmicks. Okay, you should have your own strategy for current affairs, and only based on that, only on the merit of that strategy, you should go for any kind of coaching guidance, right? So this is the last thing, because you have done all these three things, at the end you are absolutely confused. I've already mentioned here, you're absolutely confused about how to revise the whole thing, because you have touched upon so many current affairs booklets and touched upon so many current affairs strategies that you just don't know, how to consolidate the whole thing. Okay, so this is the keyword, how to consolidate. And if you are not able to consolidate, you are, your confidence is just going to be eroded in the last 1 month before prelims. So it doesn't matter whether you have spent 2 lakhs on the coaching or 5 lakhs on the coaching, but if you are not able to consolidate whatever you have studied, whatever you have read, then you are doomed in the last 1 month. And most people, they drop out of this UPSC preparation in the last 1 month, simply because they cannot consolidate all that they have read. Okay, they read a lot, they buy a lot of things, they spend on lot of coaching material, and in the end it all boils down to nothing, because they simply cannot wrap it all up. Okay, and because they cannot wrap it all up, most of them, their confidence drops down. Okay, confidence is gone, right? So we have to avoid that, and for that I'll tell you a very simple strategy. I'll remove all the fancy ketchup and all the fancy cream that is put on current affairs, and I'll tell you the simplest strategy possible to get the maximum out of the minimum effort. Okay, so my strategy is always on the 80-20 principle. Okay, 80-20 principle was given by someone named Pareto. So if you are a student of PSIR optional, you must have read about him. Okay, Pareto gave this principle कि 80% of our output, okay, 80% of our output depends on just 20% of our input. Okay, so you have to focus on this 20% so that you can get 80% of the output. You can never get 100/100 ratio. Okay, this is a utopia, this never happens. So you have to know what this 20 is. If you are focusing on the other 80 of your input, which is not so effective, you are just wasting your time, and you are just lagging in the race. So you have to know what this 20 is all about, so that this 80 can actually, you can actually make this a reality, right? So you can read more about it, and there is also a book by this author. Okay, so you can read this book also. It talks about the 80-20 principle and how it is actually, how it affects our day-to-day life very strongly. Okay, so keeping with this 80-20 principle, these are the sources that I always suggest. Okay, now this is the first one. Okay, so out of all the monthly current affairs magazines that I have read and that I have seen so far, I think Vision Eyes is still the best, because it gives you exactly, I won't say exactly, but it's close to what is absolutely necessary. Okay, so it is close. Okay, it doesn't give you too much, so it's hardly 100 pages, even less than 100 pages in most cases. Okay, so this is optimum. Don't go about reading monthly magazines which are 300 pages. Okay, so that is not going to be a strategy. So if you see GK Today magazines, okay, they are very thick, very big. Okay, so that's why I don't suggest GK Today, because they are very bulky, difficult to read, difficult to revise, difficult to summarize. Okay, so go for Visionize monthly magazines. And why I say monthly and why I do not say PT 365, the reason is very simple. Okay, see, it's in prelims, it's the present pattern, it's mostly about muscle memory. Okay, muscle memory of your brain term you should all remember. It's about muscle memory in your brain. So it depends on how well you have developed your brain muscles. Let's consider it hypothetically. Okay, there may not be something like a brain muscle, but we'll take it for argument's sake. So If you do it on a monthly basis, you are incrementally adding to your brain muscles. Okay, incremental addition is very important. Incremental. Okay, if you do directly from PT 365, which comes out hardly 2 months before prelims, maybe 2 months. So then what you are trying to do is you are just relying on your memorizing power. Okay, that is not a good strategy. Okay, that is definitely not a good strategy. It's about, it becomes case of rote learning. And I'll tell you, you can memorize as much as you want to, but the present paper of UPSC prelims is such that you will not be rewarded based on this. You will not be rewarded. Okay, so PT 365, I know people do read PT 365, but I still suggest monthly magazines of vision, because PT 365 itself is derived from the monthly magazines. Okay, so PT is just a concise version of the last 1 year monthly. So if you do the monthly magazines, what you are actually doing is, you are covering it up month by month incrementally. Okay, so it's really helpful. And if you can do it for 1 year consistently, regularly, without getting diverted by other pundits guidance, then I believe you have, you are already 60% through with your current affairs preparation. Okay, now the important thing is that you need to supplement it with some other compilation like Insights IAS. Okay, now this is basically just a counterpart of PT 365. This comes up just before prelims. Okay, this comes out just before prelims, and the purpose of reading this is to make sure that you have not missed out on anything. Okay, so this is the purpose. It is to act as a safety net. Okay, so don't miss out on anything. That is the purpose. Okay, so if there is some topic, some peripheral topic that vision might have missed, you can always catch it up later with this. Okay, so your purpose is served. Now this is the optimum. Okay, you should not go beyond this, because if you go beyond this, there is a there is a sea waiting for you, as I've already mentioned. Okay, there is a sea already there. Okay, so this is the optimum. Now the last thing that should be done is this. Okay, test series. Test series is another source. People don't realize the importance of test series as a source, of current affairs. People always think that it is a kind of a sink, like you study everything and then you attempt a test, and then whatever you have scored, that is like the end result. Okay, so that is not the correct way to approach test series for prelims. It's also a source. Through test series you can cover current affairs which have been missed by these two. Okay, so whatever has been missed by these two, you cover it from test series. And the dual purpose that this serves is, it gives you practice of MCQs, and it also gives you the new current affairs which were not there in these two. Okay, so these three, if you do these three, it's way more than enough. If you do them sincerely, it's like 100%. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so this is the main thing. So if you can stick to this, I believe it's more than enough. You do not need to do anything more. You do not need to read any more magazines. You do not need to read any other book, any other video, any other current affairs class. You don't need anything. Okay, and please try to stay away from these current affairs classes. Do not have if you have not made any kind of analysis. Okay, so these current affairs classes, they are just clickbait. Okay, they are just clickbait. Clickbait is the word. They are just there for revenue generation, nothing else. Clickbait. Okay, so this is the word. So so please stay away from these classes, because ideally current affairs you do not need classes. Okay, please stay away from them and save your own time, right? So now we come to how. So now I've told you the resources. Now I'll tell you how to do it. The how is, you have to make it prelims oriented, the key. So we have often heard of toppers talk about integrated preparation. Okay, like whatever they are studying, it's integrated, prelims plus mains. This is the common funda. But the thing is that when you are approaching prelims is a different exam. Prelims and mains are different exam. Okay, you may be studying the same thing, under the same umbrella. Okay, you might be under the same umbrella, right? So this is prelims, this is mains, but they are two separate entities nevertheless. Okay, so under this umbrella, so let's say this umbrella is a topic like zero budget natural farming. Okay, so let's say this is the broad topic, this is the umbrella. Now the thing is, for prelims and for mains, two separate kinds of notes have to be made from them. Okay, notes and reading, so if I'm reading for prelims, I would read about, what are the constituents that it talks about, who was the person who, who came up with this idea. Okay, who, what is the whether any kind of regulation is there for this kind of farming in India at present. So these, what kind of things are going to be our main focus for prelims. Okay, again for mains the focus is going to be different. We are going to think about pros, cons, way forwards. Okay, so if we do not remember the constituents, see what are the constituents of this thing for mains, so that is still pardonable, that is not a problem. But for prelims you have to remember that. Okay, so if I'm reading this current affairs magazine, then I have to read it from a prelims perspective, right? So this you have to keep in mind, because if you are reading with this P plus M mindset, then you might get confused and you might not know what is relevant for prelims and what is relevant for mains. Okay, um, this I've already spoken about, that you should integrate all your sources. Integration means that, you make your own notes, because if you are studying from vision, if you are studying from insights, vision monthly, insights, revision compilation, and if you are studying from the test series, then you cannot afford to keep them diffused. Okay, so if you are keeping them diffused, like separate sources which you feel that you can revise right at the end, then I must tell you that this is a very very dangerous strategy, because the more elements you have for revision later on, okay, the more difficult it becomes to revise. So in the end what happens is, when you keep these so many elements separately, then you ultimately end up missing out on one or two. So you might revise this, and these two might be left out. If you revise this might be left out. So this is what happens. Okay, but to avoid this, what you should do is, you should integrate them all into your own notes. Okay, if you do that, you will you can avoid repetition of topics. So if this is the topic, okay, so if this topic is there in vision, if this is there in insights as well, and this is there in some test series also, so if you make your own notes, you can just have one single section for this. Okay, zero budget natural farming, and you can note down whatever is there from these three in one place, right? So this will save space as well as time and your efforts. Okay, so this is how you have to make optimum use of all your resources. The time is the key thing, you cannot waste time, right? So this is the best way to optimize your time. And own notes, believe me, it serves very well in the long run. Okay, because if you have your own notes, it multiplies your revision speed at least by 3x. Okay, it gets multiplied, believe me, it happens. Okay, now this is the thing, is use your brain before you use your endurance. Okay, so if something can be done in 1 hour and you are doing it in 10 hours, then, and you, if you are saying that I'm working very hard, then please don't do it, because if the others can do it in 1 hour, then you are just wasting your time. Okay, so we have to do smart work, hard work. This whole this 15-16 hour studying strategy, I think this is a big hoax. ठीक है. It's a big hoax which it's mainly to keep aspirants in a spell of fear. Okay, it's to generate fear. It's to keep this whole UPSC thing, like an enigma. ठीक है. It's to keep it like above us all. It's something that cannot be achieved, and you need some kind of guide, some kind of some kind of heavenly magical tutoring to get you through. So this is the basic purpose. Please don't believe in this whole nonsense. Nobody studies for 15-16 hours. Okay, what you have to do is you have to make sure that what you are doing in this 1 hour is actually the best possible use of this 1 hour. Okay, if you are wasting 10 hours on this thing, you are not going to clear the exam. Be sure about that. So this 15-16 hour strategy, you might keep counting this day in and day out, but at the end of the year, the results come out, your name may not be there, and then you cannot have the excuse ki I studied for 15-16 hours, still I did not get it. Because this is not the criteria. Okay, the criteria is to make the best use of this 1 hour, not to stretch it to 10 hours. Okay, so please be careful about this, and please stay away from people who advise this strategy. Spend 10 hours, keep doing something. You have to know, first you have to use your brain to know what to do in this 1 hour. Only then your endurance can count. Okay, so if you know what to do in this 1 hour and then you multiply it by 10, that's when endurance comes in. If you start with your endurance as step one, you are going to go down this path, and this path, let me assure you, is very dangerous, and it's it doesn't give you the results. Okay, so in the next video I'll tell you about how to make notes. Okay, this is going to be an important video. Many people have asked me to make this video, so I'll tell you how to make notes. This is a very key aspect of preparation which most people don't know about, and most people are confused. Okay, so they're very confused whether to make notes or whether not to make notes. What should be the way forward? So I'll tell you how notes should be made and what are the benefits. So if you know the benefits, you can decide for yourself. So if I tell you that by taking this medicine. Okay, so if there is a medicine and I tell you that by taking this medicine, 1 rupee medicine, every day for 30 days, so you spend 30 rupees on this. Okay, and by spending this much you can avoid an operation that may be worth 5 lakh. Okay, 1 year down the line, you will definitely go for it, right? So I'll tell you this cost benefit analysis. Okay, so in the next video I'll tell you this. So please subscribe to the channel, and please like the video if you liked it, and till then, goodbye. Thank you.